All right, we have this. This is the FN EMG Crytac Cybergun P90. All right, so first a brief history of the P90. The P90 started development in 1990 by FN Erstal in Belgium as part of a competition set up by NATO to replace the 9x19 Parabellum round and the weapons that fired it. So what NATO wanted was a higher velocity round capable of armor penetration at longer distances out of a shorter weapon. So this is what FN came up with. There are other weapons that were submitted to this competition. One of them was the MP7, which I think in every way is superior to the P90, although it does fire a slightly smaller round. The real steel P90 is chambered in 5.7 by 28. As you can see right there on the side, there's a marking that says 5.7 by 28. It's basically a 5.56 scaled down, so that's what's in here. So the P90 was made for tank crews, vehicle crews, and anti-terror units, as well as police forces, and I can totally see why that is. It's a very compact weapon, as you can see right here. It's not a very big weapon platform, and it still has a 10-inch barrel, which means you're gonna be getting pretty good ballistics, especially for a 5.7. But as far as that brief history, a brief overview of the P90 goes, let's get into this particular P90. This is the FN Crytac Cybergun EMG P90. So those four companies collaborated to make this monstrosity. So as far as what each company did with this monstrosity, Crytac has the gearbox. They make the gearbox for this. This is the version 6 Crytac gearbox. Has MOSFET, electronic fire control unit, and a automotive grade fuse, which is actually pretty nice. Going further into the gearbox, you have 8mm ball bearings for each of the 3 springs, so that means they're not going to be locking up after a long time because those bearings are going to keep them able to spin. Another thing with this is they have perfected the angle of engagement out of the box. They added more padding to the rear of the cylinder, the piston cylinder, so the angle of engagement is going to be pretty solid out of the box. Let's see if I can pop this open. You do have your Dean's connector, T-plug, whatever you want to call it. And then you have your quick change spring. So it does have a quick change springs. I believe I do have a M120 in there, so it's going to be shooting around 400. And that's just due to the ranges that I play at. The gun is made of polymer injection molded, except for this part right here. This is aluminum, this upper receiver assembly. I do believe these are interchangeable. I believe Crytac makes some different styles of these. There's more low profile ones. I think there's one that's literally just a front sight block right here, and then there's nothing back here. And then there's one that's a very low rail that comes across the top of the mag. I'm not really sure how that works as far as reloads go, considering that to get the mag out, you have to get it to at least here, which is a full inch up, and then there's an angle. So to be able to get that out, and even then it's a very low angle. When I'm reloading the P90, I usually take that full space in there to get it in, just because it's there, use it. We have the charging handle here. It is ambidextrous, so it's on both sides. And what that does is it actually opens this hop-up door right here, so you can adjust your hop-up. So that's really nice. I think that's a great way to hide the hop-up and make it not super obvious of where it is. Unlike on something like your, let's take this URGI right here. As you can see with this, you open that, the hop-ups are right there. There's nowhere else to put it, to be fair. It is a rotary hop-up, which I do like. I'm a big fan of rotary hop-ups. Just a lot easier to use and a lot more durable compared to the little dial type hop-ups. Up here on the receiver, you have Picatinny on the top, and then you have one on the side. This is interchangeable, so as you can see, there are screw holes on this side too, so you can take this rail, put it on this side if you want a flashlight on that side or something. Just be aware that PEC boxes don't work. I have tried them. I have two. I tried my actual PEC unit and then a mock PEC unit. None of them work. They run into the magazine right here, so just be aware of that. But it will work for something like a small light or laser unit, so do what you will with that. Right here we have the P90 muzzle device. This is the metal muzzle device. Mine shipped with this in the box. On the gun is going to be your standard Crytek orange tip, which I believe is, yeah, right here as you can see on the LVOA, that is what it's going to ship with, is that orange tip. So I just took that off because, you know, this looks better. It looks like the real thing. Moving down to your trigger, you have one of the worst triggers I've ever felt in my life. It's just a straight pull, and I'm not sure if that's realistic or not, but I do not like the trigger. You have your fire select right here. You have 3 modes. You have safe, which is on right now. Trigger cannot be pulled. Semi-auto, which you can pull it and it will fire 1 shot per pull. One thing I will note that when I use this with 11.1 battery, it would fire a 2-round burst on semi, which I'm not sure if that's something with the, maybe I have a bad fire control unit, maybe it's something with the 2-stage trigger, which this does have. But yeah, just be aware of that mine does fire 2-round bursts occasionally when you're using a high power battery. And then finally you have auto. With this, when you pull the trigger to about here, it's going to fire 1 shot semi-auto, and then if you pull it all the way down, it's going to start firing full auto. I personally hate 2-stage triggers. If I could, I would just go in here and fully just make it, you know, semi-auto is semi-auto, full auto is full auto. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't do any 2-stage stuff like that. All right, as far as the mag goes, the mag is something very interesting that I have not seen out of an AEG yet. It has this. What is interesting about this is a dry fire prevention feature, which means that when you're empty, the follower is going to pop into the chamber and this little nub is going to come up. It's going to stop the weapon from firing unloaded. So that's pretty cool. So you're not dry firing and that you know that your magazine is empty. So another thing about this magazine, it is made by Crytek, by the way, as you can see right there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll do a close-up shot of it right here or something. These are gonna run you about 30 bucks, so they are kind of expensive. For me, I only have one. I don't see myself running this thing ever, so you know, it's not really worth it for me to drop 30 bucks on a mag for a gun that I'm not gonna use. Right here you have your variable capacity switch. So right now we have it on 300. This is a 300 to 50 variable capacity. So if I flip this switch right here, let's see, that way, I've just changed the capacity of this mag from 300 to 50 BBs. So that's pretty neat. I do like the variable capacity switch because if you're playing like at a casual game, you can have those full 300 rounds. It means you don't have to reload very often. But if you're at like a milsim where you're expected to have a magazine that has the same capacity as the real steel firearm, you can just flip this switch and you have 50 round mags now. So this mag is actually pretty cool. It has a lot of cool stuff on it, and I do wish that more AEG mags had this stopper on them. I'm not sure how possible that is for platforms like the AR or AK, but I think it would be cool to have. I think it's a cool idea. And finally, the barrel inside here, you have a 10.3 inch barrel, which means you're gonna be getting those longer shots out of this shorter gun. All right, so as far as my personal opinion on the P90 goes, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it looks like a malformed tree trunk, but that's just me. That's completely my opinion. I'm sure someone's gonna get mad at that because they love the P90. Again, it's my opinion. Personal bias aside, all of my opinions aside, I do think that the P90 was a very outside the box design. I think whoever was in charge of designing this was someone who wanted to go against the grain, do something different, and make something unique. And that's exactly what they did, and I will give that to them. It's a very unique looking firearm, definitely not something that you would expect, but this is in use in lots of countries in military and police roles, so it's definitely not an obsolete platform in any way. Overall, I think it's a very interesting idea. So in closing, if you're a fan of the P90, this is an excellent option if you're looking for an AEG. It is gonna cost you a pretty penny. This thing runs about 425 to 480 bucks on Evike and even more on Crytek if you want their more kitted out version of it. But overall, if you're willing to pay that much for one of these, this is definitely one that you should go and pick up. After putting in that M120 spring, I'm able to make 100-yard shots easily. The spread of the BBs is amazing. It's not like flying all over the place. And I think this is a very solid PTW for those who are looking for this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video about the P90 from EMG, Crytac, Cybergun, and FN. Once again, if you're enjoying the content that we put on this, if you're enjoying the content that we put on this channel, leave a comment. So again, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and also I hope you'll stick around for the other content that is both posted and upcoming on the channel. So we're at the end of the video, so we have to do a verse, and because I didn't do one in the last video, we're gonna do two. The first verse is Mark 3:25, which says, "And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand." Basically, make sure that you are not quarreling amongst each other. In your community, do your best to stop fights, do your best to get along, do your best to build relationship and not take it down. And the second verse, which I think is a great one for anybody really, is Luke 12:15, which says, "And he, Jesus, said to them, 'Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions.'" Basically, none of this matters. None of all of the stuff that I have matters in the long run. It's where my soul is at. And if it's caught up in, airsoft and that stuff, I love airsoft, but I can't love it to a degree that it becomes an idol. So just be on your guard and don't let the things of this world become idols and gods. That's all I have for you guys today. See you in the next video.